The time is now 6 p.m. on June 25th, 2025, and this regular meeting of the El Campo Independent School Board of Trustees is now called to order. Let the record show that this meeting was duly posted with Section 551.043 of the Texas Government Code with regards to public notice, public posting of public meetings, and there is a quorum of members present. At this time, would you please rise for our opening prayer and the Pledge of Allegiance. Let's pray. Lord, thank you for letting all of us come together tonight to discuss the business of the district and let us all realize that we're striving for the same goal to build a quality community, and please bless us as we do that. We ask these things in your Son's name. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. At regular meetings, the board sets aside 15 minutes to hear persons who desire to make comments to the board that are not related to agenda items. We actually have somebody tonight that has signed up for public comment. The comments are limited to 5 minutes. We do time, and once we hit that 5-minute mark, we'll kind of give you the wave. But Eileen?
Good evening, board members. Tonight I wanted to address the parking lot fiasco we had during the graduation ceremony. The safety concern was addressed. Students were evacuated off the field in a timely manner. However, parents and guests who were parked in the stadium parking lot could not get out in that timely manner. Exits were blocked by vehicles, and if there was an active shooter present, those in the parking lot would be sitting ducks. The fire department usually helps with traffic and parking in the stadium lot area, especially during football games, but only prior to the events, not during and definitely not after. Once the parking lot's full, they stop. They go sit and enjoy and watch the game or whatever the festivity is. No one's there to stop a vehicle from parking or blocking an exit. I know they're paid. The fire department is paid either $100 per year or $200 per year, which equivalents between the 5 football games, $40 per game and $20 per game. And they're not required to help. They're only strongly suggested to help. It's not a thing of mandatory with the department. The back parking lot off Pecan Street, there's only one way in and one way out. Suggestions that solutions to this problem would be to either have the fire department block the center entry exit ways and have it only one way in and one way out to make the traffic move accordingly, and or offer more pay to the fire department to have them work the traffic before and after the games. In the back parking lot, maybe make another entrance. That way one can be designated entry and then the other exit. That's all I have.
Well, thank you. Part of the it's not on the agenda, so we can't give you feedback at this time. But we appreciate you bringing that to us. It takes some courage to come to these things and do that, but we appreciate it, and we will definitely. You'll be hearing from Mr. Callahan in the next week or so with a response.
No worries, no worries. I was in the parking lot, but not parked in the parking lot, so I did see how jammed it was, and it was ridiculous. It was crazy. So yes, thank you.
That brings us to our favorite part of the evening, which is recognition. It's always fun to recognize students, especially ones that are high achievers. And we have Mr. Partita is going to recognize John Gia, who is also our secondary teacher leader.
All right, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. I'm so excited to recognize John Gia, a percussion student and our drum captain for this upcoming year, but also a piano student of Miss Vicky, and she's been working with him for several years now. she brought up John to us, asking us if we could enroll him in the regional contest, and he learned his piano solo by memory. Such a high level of difficulty that once he received his rating from that judge, he was certified to be a state performer at the Texas State Solo and Ensemble Contest. This was held in Pflugerville on May 24th. So 2 days after graduation, he took time out to do this contest. And I was fortunate enough to be able to take him over there, listen to him as he did his warm-ups, and listen to him as he did his performance, as with Miss Vicky. He did such a fantastic job, and he was awarded the second highest rating. He got a 2 and a silver medal at this contest. And so it was my pleasure to recognize Mr. John Gia for his piano solo at this contest.
Why don't you come in here, Mr. Russell and Mr. Partita and John? Bring his mom up too.
And his
Absolutely.
Miss Wong, Ada Wong, come on up. I know, come on up. Come on and stand up, please. Oh, it's okay. I have one of those.
All right, 1, 2, 3. Okay.
Look this way real quick.
Oh, Miss.
Wait, I'm short and everybody gets in front of me. Plus, I can't walk too well at the moment.
Thank you.
Miss Vicky, can we have you come up here?
That'd be a good idea.
Come on up. Come on up.
Would you let me take a picture?
Want me to?
Who volunteered to take that picture?
Vanessa did a good job.
Good job, Vanessa.
Paparazzi there.
I'm sorry.
Good to see you.
I told James before.
You did a much better job with him than you did with me.
And Ms. Starry,
It's never too late.
can you give us any kind of trivial information about the presenter today? Do you know anything about him? Mr. Partita?
Mr. Partita was our Teacher of the Year for secondary.
Oh. It's always good to recognize those things.
Yes.
Yes, it is.
When he walked in the door, he was on the TV when he
Oh.
came in. And his wife and daughter were like, well, look, there you are.
Celebrity.
I think the best part of that, if I may, is Valerie. She took my picture and she looked at it and she goes, "Is that your real smile?"
Just like, that's all I got.
Thank you.
Thanks for being here. Item number 4 is our consent agenda. According to local policy BE, consent agenda is provided that includes items of a routine or reoccurring nature that group together under one action item. Board members are furnished background information prior to the meeting. Is there any item that you'd like to see pulled out and acted on individually? If not, I will entertain a motion to approve the consent.
Just to make sure the board, ABS West is our contracted services for special ed student. We do continue to use our canine contraband and detection. I was asked about that by board members, so I thought it important just to mention. And Donald has teamed with the University of Texas at Rio Grande Valley for security operations. So those are all new things. And then Ms. Starry is here. She has signed us up for all of Region 3 contracts.
I'll make a motion. Go ahead. I'll move that we approve the consent agenda.
Have a motion by Mr. Dortick, a second by Mr. Dubrock. All in favor, raise your right hand. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries with Mr. Ryan and Ms. Nahavitz absent. That brings us to the presentation items, and that will be to go to item B1 discussion of the fiscal year 26 budget recommendations.
It's you, Mr. Wells.
What do you want me to say? I was actually part of a budget workshop today, working on our template. I just want I want to be transparent because I don't want everybody to get caught up in what they've actually seen in the media and thinking that there's a whole bunch of extra money, okay? Because there's not, you know, a whole bunch of extra money. So there is a, there's a teacher allotment that will basically be affording a raise for all of our teachers that have completed 5 years. Okay, if they've completed 5 years, they will be receiving 8,000.
Please direct them to what kind of a teacher, because it's specific in law.
Yes. They have to be a classroom teacher.
Correct.
So it has to be a classroom teacher. It does not include counselors. It does not include nurses and librarians. Historically, they've, you know, in most places that has been the same salary schedule. But the way it's going to be funded, it's going to be funded through an allotment. So anybody that's completed 5 years of service will receive 8,000. Anybody that has completed, okay, because a lot of people have been getting mixed up because it says 3 to 4 year teachers. They had to have completed 3 years of service, and if they've completed 3 or 4 years of service, then those teachers will actually receive $4,000 in the allotment funding from the state of Texas.
What's that look like for us? I mean,
So basically, it looks like about $1.5 million that we will basically get in an allotment formula from the state of Texas to pay those teachers. Anybody that is actually coded in our PEMS as a 087, and we do have some people that are coded in multiple situations. They may be, it may be like you being the principal and you were the placeholder for just a class for the schedule, and you were coded as a teacher. You will show up as a 087, but you're also coded as an administrator.
which you would not.
Which you would not receive the funding for.
So, is this ongoing? Is this gonna happen again next year, so that the people who are sitting there with 2 years will get the 3-year bonus next year?
The ones that, once they've completed 3 years, then they'll get.
It'll be every year that they
Yes,
get. So
yes.
every
It'll be a
single-
part of our, it'll actually be part of our salary
Okay,
compensation. Yes.
okay.
So is the allotment an allotment for 2 years until we go into the next session, or is it a forever allotment?
So they're saying that it's a forever allotment. However, with it being an allotment,
That's not how government
That-
works.
with it being an allotment, that does lends itself to where in the future it may be there, it may not. They're
Right.
saying that it's a permanent thing, but,
So are we thinking to make that stipend, or it's going to go into salary?
it has to go into their salary. They actually, sent that out to the, in the TAA.
Okay.
That would be interesting for
So,
TRS.
so for us, and I'll give you a few more specifics, there's approximately 240 teachers in El Campo. Of those 240, somewhere around 30 of them are not considered to be classroom teachers. It could be a diag, an instructional coach, a counselor, a nurse. Of the 210 or so, 170 of those, and I'm giving you approximate numbers, it's like 171, but I'm just giving you ballpark numbers. Of those 210, 170 of them have 5 or more years' experience, and they will receive the 8,000. Of the other 40, about half of those have 3 or 4 years, and the other half are 0, 1, and 2s. And they'll get 4,000. Of the 3 and 4 will get 4,000, and the 0, 1, and 2s, Mr. Wells would place them in the category because in essence, we're given $45 per student for other raises for everyone else, including those teachers I just mentioned and the bus drivers, et cetera. So our goal is to provide a substantial compensation for those individuals.
So like a special ed teacher that may not carry a roster,
Counts as a teacher,
teacher or not?
Counts as a 087 teacher, they will actually
Okay.
count.
So that's been
but a
clear.
diagnostician does not.
Correct.
And but we, do
They
we
see
have
them as an admin.
what are our diags on a teacher salary schedule?
No, they're on a
No, they're on a
professional.
professional grade salary schedule.
Okay. So is this fully funded?
No, not yet. They
So-
give you, they're giving us $390 per student times the 2,970 ADA that we have, which is about 1.16 million. And we assume that we are going to have to pay out somewhere in the area of 1.56 million just to meet the $8,000 and $4,000
So
threshold.
will they settle, are they saying they're gonna settle up on that?
Yes.
Yes, and what basically what we'll do is we're gonna front it, because we'll front it because it's gonna be based on our fall PEMS.
Or- Okay.
So it will already be on our salary schedule for the people that we're basically saying that are gonna be these teachers that we're giving this $8,000 or $4,000 raise to. So we'll actually front it. Once the PEMS data goes in, then once we see funding and when they do the adjustment to the funding, then they'll adjust it and make sure that they hit us in the settle up.
Okay.
What,
We're-
go ahead.
Well, I know we're not there yet, but when we talk about total budget and recommendations on other raises and those kinds of things, we're thinking we can do something.
Go ahead, I agree with
Here,
Mr.
what
Wells.
template, what template are you on?
So I use a template from.
Well, I mean,
What
number.
number?
What number from the state? 0? You hadn't even got one? Or is it template 1? You
Oh,
know,
the
they release.
No, the number of times they've released it.
oh, this is the third version of the new release.
Okay,
of
so
how
we
it's
have
supposed
about
to-
11 more of revisions to come, probably from the state.
Probably only 3 more.
Really?
Really?
Mm-hmm.
They're
But
gonna
we
be
assume,
that much
Rich,
more
to answer
efficient.
your question, which is really what I think the board really wants to know, our recommendation is going to be that we provide a 4% raise to everyone else. All the other categories based upon the midpoint in their category schedule. We believe we can afford it. We believe that the individuals who are in those categories deserve that compensation. We just cannot get to close to the 13 to 15% that is being given to the quote-unquote classroom teachers under section 5.001.
Right.
And I also want to be very, very transparent on this. I've talked to all of our campus leaders. I've talked to, Alicia was there, Amanda was there. We have to be very, very strategic on spending. Because there's no, and so I said, we can do one of two things. We can either invest in people or we can invest in stuff. And I don't want to get us in a situation to where if we're investing in people and then people are complaining about not having enough stuff. Because we're gonna have enough stuff, but we're gonna have what we need because we're going to invest our funds in our people. And not buying extra programs or extra stuff. Does that make sense?
Yeah. No.
But I think it's important, you have two principals behind you that agreed with that also.
That's the conversation we've had.
Yeah. And we've been through.
Yeah.
We've been through times in the district where we had a lot of peripheral stuff, programs that we were invested in that were executed to some degree or not to some degree, but we've trimmed that down a great deal, and I think
Well, I would
this is
agree-
gonna be a strange budget year. I mean, an absolute strange budget year, because I think nobody's gonna know what's going on until the minute before we're supposed to approve a budget.
Correct.
So, I think just stay tuned and keep us
Can I,
informed.
can I add, because I think when you're talking about the stuff, I think Ms. Starry has done a phenomenal job,
Trimming that.
trimming down what we're gonna do, and then going after grants. We found out yesterday, we received another grant for some of our curriculum funding information. I do wanna point out that the state is providing us $45 per ADA, 2,970 students, which is like $133,650. That is designed to be distributed amongst all the remaining staff. That doesn't cover the raise that I just told you at 4%, but we do believe in our budget process, we will have enough. Mr. Wells has been very confident with the 4% number. I am confident in that 4% number.
Now, in my confidence, I want to say that, I want to be transparent.
Yeah.
In my confidence, I want everybody to know that there's going to be things that if they come to me and ask me about, I'm going to be saying, no, that's not something, we have to be fiscally responsible because we're investing in our people. Because our people are what are educating our kids, not the stuff. So,
I agree. So you'll come to us with what 3.5, 3 looks like, what, we'll see all this.
I'll show you what all the numbers look like.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you for the update. I know there's more to come. Curriculum and instruction is the annual gifted and talented report.
Yes, so in your board book, you should have a copy of the report. I'm just gonna hit some highlights in it. On the first page, you're gonna see the enrollment. We did decline 20 students, but what we see, one, we had in 23-24, we had a lot of kids in kindergarten identified, and we didn't only have identified one this past year. So that kind of fluctuates year to year. And then typically what we see when they get to middle school, and then especially when they get to high school, is they no longer want to take the advanced courses, because we're asking them to be in dual credit and advanced placement once they hit their junior and senior year. And they typically don't want to be in that, so some of them start getting out then. So that's kind of where we start seeing the decline. But overall, we're still sitting at over 7%, and the state's sitting at 8.5%. So we're still very closely aligned with the state. Our STAR scores from this past year, they're on here. These are just our GT students, of course. Our goal would be to have all of our students at meets, 100% at meets in all areas. We're very, very close. We're only missing it by a student or two, except for social studies at 8th grade. That's an area where we struggle across, but that's the only area that's a little bit low. But 100% at meets would definitely be a goal, because these kids should be performing at grade level without a problem. So right above that, I skipped that part, but the certification summary, this year we really want to focus on getting more of our administrators and counselors go through the 6-hour needs and nurture and needs assessment stuff training. We had a lot, and then as counselors and admin have changed and moved around, we're starting to see a decline in those numbers. So we're still in compliance. We have to have one on every campus, so we're still good, but it's just good to have more people in the know. So the last part of the report is just basically the standard analysis that we have to look at every year, and we have to see if we're meeting our standards. So these are the standards we have to live by. It tells you in the middle what we're doing, and then if we've met them. So we've met all of them. But I do have a correction I need to bring to your attention in this report on page 5 at the bottom. I typically update this on paper and then go back and do it on the computer, and I missed an edit. So at the bottom on 2.5C for the summary of finance number, that number needs to be 63,311, not 64,000. So just want to bring that to your attention. We'll continue training teachers. We have 2 opportunities this summer for teachers to get their 6-hour update if they want. If they don't and they have GT kids, then they'll get their 6-hour update in August. We'll set that date. So,
Are we still following in the elementary school? There's a
The TPSB.
TPSB.
Yes,
And then,
yes.
and it tracks each year, and the
Yes.
project is different each
Yes.
year now.
Yes, and
Okay,
then once
and
we
we're
get
still
to,
doing all
we're
that.
still doing all that. At middle school, Miss Guthrie has kind of revamped it a little bit, and she's doing stuff on inventions, but it's like sixth grade year, they do one part, seventh grade year, they
Okay.
adjust, and so it
Yeah, that's
it
my
builds
question.
on each
Does
other.
it builds on it, on
Yes,
itself?
yes,
Okay,
yes,
well, good.
yes,
That was a good move when we did that.
yes.
Okay. Any questions?
What does the gifted and talent program look like at the high school?
So, so it's embedded within the English department.
Oh,
So
okay.
the students, they all have, well, they have to take advanced classes, so that's part of it.
Oh, okay.
But then in the English department, that's where they're doing their research-based project. And the teachers have to do more depth and complexity with those students, and they're expected to present it in some form or fashion. So they might do a podcast, they might do just something different than typically just stand in front of the room and present your project, you know?
Okay.
But trying to get on their level of doing things, you know?
In high school, the program kind of
It
gets defrayed a little bit.
A little bit, yes, because it's,
You can't take all the classes that
Right.
the GT program would mandate, because you're also trying to take college level courses
right.
and all that.
It's not a pull-out in
It
any
kind
sense.
of, the program
It's-
holds together pretty
right.
good through about the sixth grade, right?
Yes, yeah,
And
oh,
then-
well, basically through eighth grade,
Through
is
eighth grade.
really it does. And then high school, it's just very embedded in the English department. So
Gotcha.
we make sure all our services are covered through the English
Cool.
department.
I guess that's what I was asking, because I didn't know where the advanced and all that.
Yes, yes,
Gotcha.
yes.
The next item on the list here is the discussion. I don't think that we'll have too much lengthy discussion on this, but everybody knows we had a cyber attack not too long ago in the district, and the action item here is discussion and consideration of a proposition to pay the ECISD employees for the loss of work on June the 5th, 2025 because of breach in the ECISD servers caused by ransomware and cyber attack. That attack, the way I understand it, occurred kind of mid-morning-ish, where everybody was already here. And
We found out early in the morning. I think Mr. Burton was the first one to have his computer attacked, and
well, it's probably his fault.
Well, that's what I thought. 6:30 in the morning, I was calling.
so Ms. Starry, Mr. Burton, Mr. Wells, and myself, we were all at the Capturing Kids' Hearts training when Donald called me and said, we have been ransomwared. So we tried to find out how in-depth it was, and basically what it caused us is in the early mid-morning times, we determined that no one could get on their computers because, for example, my computer, we turned it on to check to see if I was attacked, and I was not. But just by turning it on, and the next morning when we turned the computers back on, my computer was infected. So we had to do 2 sets of deletions all the way to the server level, and then to eliminate the attack.
So
It took them all weekend to work.
right. So what's being asked of the board is to count the day that everybody came up and then were sent home because they couldn't work, but they were physically here by the time that everybody was sent home. So I have a motion.
To approve as presented.
I have a motion by Mr. DeBrock, a second by Mr. Cannell. All in favor, raise your right hand. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries unanimously with same 2
We
absent.
couldn't trace this back to Patrick, we couldn't pin it on him.
No, sir. No. Matter of fact, I think what Donald determined is that it originated in Russia.
That's such an easy out.
That's way past
I think
Kansas.
Questions? Any questions? The next item is the closed session?
No, sir. Discussion and
Oh, sorry.
proposition of UAL.
Oh, yeah. So
Senate Bill 401.
Senate Bill 401 is our next to discuss and consider a proposition to opt out of allowing participation in UIO activities by non-enrolled students in response to Senate Bill 401.
So board members, the present law is you have to opt in to non-enrolled students. The past legislative session has changed that to boards, and I believe it's gonna have to be yearly. We'll have to opt out because the legislature, supported by our governor, has decided that students need to be able to participate in UIL activities even if they're homeschooled or whatever. So that is now the law of the state. So if we have students who are not enrolled in school, they will be allowed to participate in all UIL activities.
Unless we have.
Unless you opt
Unless we have a
out.
motion and a carried action to opt out of that.
Correct.
The district's existing stance has always been that you had to be enrolled in our schools, walking the halls to participate in our sports.
Specifically during COVID, we dealt with that as a board. And if they were homeschooled or they were computered online, we did not let them participate. So it is our recommendation. I've spoken to the powers that be, including Coach Reeve, who is sitting out in the audience. If you want to ask questions, we don't feel like we have enough control over the students unless they're in our care throughout the instructional day, and therefore our recommendation to the board, but we'll do whatever it is you choose to tell us, is that we opt out of participation by non-school, non-enrolled students.
Discussion? I'll seek a motion.
I'll vote that we approve the proposition to opt out.
We have a motion to opt out, a second by Mr. Dubrock. That was Mr. Dortick and Mr. Dubrock. All in favor, raise your right hand. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries unanimously with the 2 board members absent. Okay, now we are all the way down to closed session, right?
Yes, sir.
Time is now 6:22 and 6:32, that we will now adjourn into closed session under Texas Government Code Section 551.074, personnel matters. Time is now 6:46 and the board will reconvene in open meeting.
I move that we set aside the superintendent's hiring authority for 5 calendar days.
Second.
Have a motion by Mr. Dubrock and a second by Mr. Dortick. All in favor, raise your right hand. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries unanimously with 2 absent.
Make a motion to approve the teaching contracts as recommended by the administration.
Have a motion by Mr. Dubrock.
Second.
Second by Ms. Smith. All in favor, raise your right hand. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries unanimously with 2 absent. That brings us to the superintendent's report.
Board members, because of the legislative session, we are going to need to have some professional development that is required by law, specifically to talk about Texas Education Code Chapter 37, which is discipline. We need to talk a little bit about House Bill 2 and all of the other relevant information. And so I would recommend that you give me the opportunity to bring in Christine Badillo from Walsh Gallegos for whatever period of time you set aside. Typically, we might be able to do this in 2 hours, maybe 3. You can do it on a board meeting night, and we can do it early, start early and bring in dinner, eat, work through dinner, because this is really more of it's not you doing business, it's really receiving information, kind of like just happened at summer leadership. And so if you can just give me some dates that I can.
When's the next regular schedule?
July 23rd, right?
July 23rd.
And that should be a light agenda.
Yes.
The next 2 agendas should be light. So
Except when we get to budget.
that's going to be in August. But
Maybe July.
yeah, I think we better do it in July. We won't be doing a whole bunch of budget in July.
No.
Because it won't be.
We won't even have our certified values 100%
Right.
until the 25th of July, correct?
The first ones or the?
Yeah, the real ones.
I don't want to respond to that question, Mr. DeBrock. We are still.
They're gonna be right this
We are
time.
still awaiting the final certified values. We got the preliminary certified values about a week ago on Saturday. We think that they're not certified yet, so we're holding off. I think that I just hope Judge Spenrath was accurate in his article in the paper today where he was cautiously optimistic about the CAD values.
So, I say we go ahead and try to schedule it for the 23rd, and I say we move the board meeting up to 5 PM so that we can do the board meeting, then close the board meeting, do the couple hours or whatever it is, and have a meal. That way we're not up here all night. All good?
Deal.
So let it be written, so let it be known.
So July 23rd, 5 PM.
Yep.
Okay, and then I know that the last time we met, Parkhill kind of told us that they would be finished with their contract sometime in August. I'm here and pleased to announce that Parkhill and Polasek were here on Monday, and we have come to agreement in terms, and Parkhill is out looking for a geotech and a survey team as we speak.
Well,
So
we're ahead of schedule.
2 months.
both contracts are signed, and, well, the dates they gave me were the end of January for initial impact at breaking ground at Hutchins, and probably the end of March for the high school, and I told them that we needed to
You got us some
reconsider
nice
those
shiny
dates.
shovels.
We will have
I
nice
want
shiny.
Nice shiny shovels.
Okay.
Get on that, Dimitri. Or is that, never mind.
Contract about out.
I think you ought to find the oldest, dirtiest thing you can get.
So I was pleased with Parkhill, and I was pleased with Polasek, and also the work coming out of Walsh Gallegos to make these contracts negotiations go smoothly.
Good. Anybody got any questions? The time is now 6:51, and there being no further business on the agenda, I now declare this meeting adjourned.